Asia. So I guess Trump's going to have to build a wall with China now, maybe out there in the Pacific somewhere. But interestingly enough, though, for someone who's not making America great again, now we knew his ties are made in China, his shirts are made in Bangladesh, but I just found out a little something about his Palm Beach resort. He actually was bringing over foreign workers. Now, he wasn't doing it legally. He was bringing them over with visas. He was bringing them over to work as, maids and bellhops and at his Florida resort. So don't tell me you couldn't find American citizens to do those jobs. So I'm like, again, and this is my argument with the people that are holding him on some kind of pedestal. How do you think this guy's going to make America great again? He wants to build them all in Mexico, and he's actually bringing in workers from other countries to work at his resorts? I mean, somebody needs to shine a light on that.
I see your point, but you see, these are people who want to come here and work, and will work that job for that money.
But why couldn't he hire an American citizen for that job?
A lot of Americans wouldn't work for $8 and $9. They want up to 15. They want more. So, I mean,
now he brought over on legal visas, so he's got to pay those people the legal minimum wage. But at the very least, you can get teenagers to work as a I worked for $3.50 an hour. But that's how long ago that was.
Right.
At Chick-fil-A, shaking fries. So you know what? You can get kids that will do that.
Carl, that was you, and that was me. I went to work when I was 8, and that's 40 years ago. Okay. Now,
but there are plenty of teenagers who can do that job.
No, I was.
There are plenty.
5 years in high school.
You cannot tell me that nowhere in America is there an American citizen who would not take a job as a maid in a hotel, as a concierge, as a bellhop, those type of jobs. There are.
More than what they're getting by sitting at home.
You're right. It is more than what they're getting by sitting. It is.
All right, but to them, they might figure that might not be enough. Why work?
Dean, when you walk into a Duane Reade or a VS, those are legal American citizens working there. How much do you think they're making?
Who want to work? Same thing.
So those would be the same group of people who could work at Trump's hotel, at Trump's resort, making the same amount of money.
Okay, I'm just saying that there are people out there who would rather, if it's $2 less than what they're getting for staying at home, they'd rather stay at home.
Under that argument, then what is the problem with bringing Mexicans to pick tomatoes in the field? As a matter of fact, I think there are fewer. If there are fewer Americans who would be willing to do that job, and I know that fact because the states of Alabama and Georgia tried to get rid of all of their immigrants, and farmers begged them to come back because their produce was rotten in the field. Believe me, I grew up in Texas. I've actually seen people picking oranges in the orange fields. That's a hell of a lot harder work than being a bellhop in a hotel.
Yeah.
It really is. Nobody wants to be out there 120-degree heat picking oranges. And the other thing that nobody has ever thought of is our entire economy is based on having these workers who make next to nothing. If you had to pay an American, $8 an hour, $10 an hour, $15 an hour to pick oranges, how much do you think that glass of orange juice would cost you? You willing to pay $50 for a glass of orange juice?
So you're willing not to see that all goes back to what we were talking about, the cheap labor and the unions and all that other stuff.
It always does.
That was the thing. Remember, we were talking with the TPP agreement with agriculture. It was going to hurt agriculture. You're saying exactly what I said. That who's going to pay somebody $15 to do it?
Exactly.
It's all related.
So we can't talk. I mean, if there's a great movie that everybody should see called A Day Without Mexicans. And people need to think about that really long and hard. Your meat that is processed. There was actually a horrific family from Brooklyn that was hiring illegals to work in their They owned a slaughterhouse in Iowa, which actually they were trying to pass it off as kosher meat, and it turns out there was nothing kosher about what they were doing. It was absolutely disgusting. But they were getting 15-year-old Mexican kids to work in this Iowa slaughterhouse with no heating in the middle of winter. And I won't even tell you about the horrific accidents they were having because they had no training, no heating, and they're working under terrible conditions. And then trying to pass this meat off as kosher meat, which to me was, you're doing wrong by your own people by doing that. But how much would you have to pay an American to work under those same circumstances? And I'm not saying, it cuts both ways. I think everybody should have good working conditions. Everybody should. But how much are you willing to pay? You can't have it both ways. You can't.
No, you can't. No.
And so I think that each and every one of us should ask ourselves, okay, you want to build a wall with Mexico? Are you willing to pay $50 for orange juice?
But the thing with sometimes you pay that when the weather's bad. they have a frost.
Absolutely, and well, that would be an additional cost, So.
How do you guys feel about Jeb Bush jumping out of the race?
Oh gosh, I gotta say, I actually felt so bad for Jeb. It was just sad. I imagine his donors probably feel a whole heck lot worse for all the money they put into his campaign, but I'm also...
he had all that baggage.
Yes.
And Hillary's got the same trouble.
Yeah.
Hillary has the same trouble.
And he really shot himself in the foot also. I mean, at the end, he was bringing his brother out to campaign for him. I'm like, dude, really? Really?
That even though I'm on the right, that really ticked me off because why is George popping up now with 7 years? Obama's blaming him for everything and everything, and he keeps his mouth shut. And then he just pops up. This is why so many people are voting for Trump. It's because they see that he's making the establishment panic on both sides. You have the Republicans couldn't get together for 7 years to do anything against Obama and his liberal policies. They couldn't do anything. But Trump comes along, and they're all buddy-buddy, ganging up against him.
And bringing out George W. Bush.
I don't know who their advisors are, but they're blind. They don't see that whatever they say or do against them, it's backfiring on them, and the people, his numbers keep going up and up. If you want to out, shut up. Just let him go. Because
I really think he had some really bad advisors, Bush did, because I'm like, really, why on earth would you bring your brother out? He's the guy that everybody has blamed for the Iraq War, so you bring him out to support you. Like,
I bet $10 is that bozo Karl Rove who came up with that idea.
And, I honestly feel bad for Jeb because I don't even know if he wanted to be president. Just like that look of, I'm like a sad puppy kind of face, like when he's telling people, please clap. It's almost like my parents put me up to this. It's part of the family legacy. I'd rather be eating my guacamole,
like he's disappointed in the family. Dad did it, brother did it, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So his mom told him not to run. I remember that a couple of years ago. She was like, that's it, we're done.
She said people have had enough Bushes, and I think that's true.
And I think Hillary's in for a surprise, too. I don't...
But it's interesting with what we're left with now in the Republican Party, because really the only one who's like traditional Republican is John Kasich.
Yeah.
And he's really the only one left because the rest you got are a bunch of wild cards.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how intimidating Carson is at this point, but
unlike Rubio, he's not a robot. He just talks off the cuff, which got him into a little trouble. He made that comment about women coming out of the kitchens and the service. I don't think he meant anything bad by it. It was just the time, and that's what it was.
There's a question with Rubio versus Cruz. Since Jeb Bush left the race, now there's a big pressure for either Rubio or Cruz to leave the race so we can bring it down to just two candidates. What do you guys feel about that?
Rubio's got to go. I mean, he's losing in his own state. It's a waste of time. and he's a flip.
He's doing it to himself. Doing it to himself. I'm like,
that guy said that Christie was in the water and took him with him. Yeah, because pretty much that's it. I mean, Rubio's done. I saw him on a recent thing, and he kept saying the same thing over and over. You're right, like a robot.
Because he had that momentum coming out of Iowa, and that's where he blew it. He had that momentum. He could have kept it going, but then Christie really did a number against Rubio. He really did, and he kept time after time. There he goes again. There he goes again. And he just kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. And he kept, for some reason, what he was saying was, basically that we had to take Obama seriously, whatever. Like, why are you bringing up Obama? That's done and over with, dude. You need to move forward. Like, because what kind of message is that sending? Like, you're still worried about Obama? There's only, 10 months left in his term,
Yeah.
So it's but again, just stuff like doesn't show up to the event with Cruz and Jeb. That looks wimpy. It really does.
Yeah, especially when you're down, when you're losing, and he's gonna have to step out. Let's see Rubio having to step out because Cruz isn't gonna step out. Cruz is the only guy.
Oh
no! Cruz is the only guy who's got a shot at Trump. And speaking of shots, what's with all this assassination talk? That's just wrong. The New York Times said that Trump should be assassinated. The New York Times had that article that made that joke about assassinating Trump. And then Lindsey...
Well, and I don't want anybody to be assassinated, but, he did kind of bring it on himself by saying he could stand on Fifth Avenue and shoot people.
But then Lindsey Graham... But what I'm saying is now Lindsey Graham said that about Cruz. I mean...
Wow.
That's, because really...
It really makes you wonder the state of the Republican Party at this point. And this is something else that people really have to think about because, all politicians, I'm going to do this one.